Well, I hope you're sitting comfortably for this week's edition of Macanori, where I'll be reading a story called The Devil in Disguise from Tales from a Scary Girl, Darkly Sinister. If you're not following me already, you can do so on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Simply look for Marie and Cope Author. So, are you ready? Have you got your cuppa? Have you got your drink? It's time for a story. Sitting here now, I don't tend to look back at what happened to me as an issue, or as something bad to wear as a kind of badge of honour for the rest of my life. So many of us befell a similar fate, each injury different, each circumstance an invention of the same thing: war. It's not like we had a choice in what we did either. If you ran from your duty, they hunted you down like foxes, and the fate that befell you then, well, let's just say it made the war look like a birthday party. I was the only one in my family to get the call. My mother cried, as mothers do, but my father remained stoic, told me it was my duty, even though I would be standing against what he believed, standing against what the world believed, or Europe at least. Of all the regiments I could have gone into, of all the regiments I'd rather have gone into, because of my family, my education, and more importantly, my appearance, I was sought for the elite, the regiment everyone, apparently, wanted to be part of, but few were so lucky. I, apparently, was lucky. So lucky, that's what I had to keep telling myself as I reported for duty with the Schutzstaffel, or SS to you. I never saw him, you know. Few people did. It was as if he was afraid to face us, afraid of what we might do en masse in retaliation for what he made us do. I passed out the first time, woke up in a cell, vomit decorating my jacket, the memory of what they'd done, what I'd done, causing my stomach to contract again. 40 lashes, that's what I got. 40 lashes for not being able to tolerate the tasks that were set. It hardened me. To be assaulted every time I did the job that was asked of me, simply because I dared to have a response, will do that. I believe in karma, and I knew that one day she would call to collect. No one thinks about us as real people, you know. I listen now to talk of that time and what one man created, and the vitriol is still as strong, the tar brush undiscriminating. You see, no one wanted to know the truth. No one wanted to believe that good, honest, kind people could do such appalling things. No one wanted to believe that, like every other man of a certain age across Europe, hell, maybe even the world, I had no choice. For some strange, warped reason, people chose to believe that we wanted to do what we did, that we enjoyed it. Some of them did, especially him and his immediate aides. But for the rest of us? Seriously? Christ, I cried when my mother swatted a fly. Badging us all as the enemy, though, is always easier when it comes to retaliation. Quicker and cleaner to take down everyone than to consider there may have been innocents in the Schutzstaffel too. I wasn't supposed to be there that night. Despite my lily-livered nature causing me to have my own cell, I was supposed to have been at the camp. But my last bout of incarceration had landed me with the lurgy, and they couldn't have that killing them off too humane. So I was quarantined in what I term the officers' spa. Seriously, I'm not lying. There were spas so the officers could relax and forget about their job before it sent them crazy. To be honest, if I were the Allies, I'd have done the same thing. I don't hold it against them. Well, I didn't. It's just hard sometimes when I look back, but to be honest, I'm not sure how my life would have turned out. Maybe I'd have died anyway, just under different circumstances. As it was, I was stuck in my room, or more precisely, locked in my cell, as that's pretty much what it was, kept away from everyone else, a leper in their midst. The problem was, few knew I was there, and those that did didn't care. So when the fireball hit, no one came to let me out. That's if there was anyone left. As with many bunkers, the cell I was in, once subjected to extreme heat, soon became an oven. It wasn't long before I couldn't touch anything, before the soles of my boots became one with the floor, before my flesh began to sizzle and my hairs to smoulder. Karma, I thought, as my mind wandered to tales of the Salem witches and the punishments they'd endured for daring to stand against the establishment. I hadn't dared, but nor had I wanted to do what they made me do. I just knew the consequences if I didn't. My family didn't deserve that. The blistering heat seared through my body, and I'm not ashamed to say I screamed. The agony of feeling your flesh liquefy before turning into wafer-thin strips of charred leather is indescribable. The stench of burning flesh, my flesh, caused my stomach to contract as nausea took over and I vomited. It wasn't long before my nerves grew numb to their fate, my body deciding my internal organs needed more protection. The numbness, a blessed respite, like the eye of a storm, enabled me to see through my smoke-invoked tears, and that's when I saw it, a mirage in the desert heat. Someone had remembered me after all. I reached out towards my saviour and felt my prison start to spin as pain seared through me once more. It was the proverbial straw. As much as I'd like to say I resisted it, I can't. The pull was too strong, my willpower too weak, the darkness a welcome relief. I don't know how much time passed. All I know was the liquid felt like a balm against my cracked lips. I tried to swallow, my coughing almost rejecting the salve my body needed. I'd like to say I didn't know what was happening to me, but I kind of did. I'd heard the stories of soldiers being saved from the brink of death, but I never thought I'd be one of them. Why? Because the stories are folklore or fairy tales, depending on your viewpoint. And I didn't believe in all that. Yet here I am. They call them fables, etc., because no one knows what really happened, so they make up an ending, a happy one, of course. If they knew the truth, I'm sure these fables would take on a very different meaning. The war, as you know, was almost a century ago, yet I'm talking to you as if it had just ended. I know you thought I was telling you about my grandfather, and I can see your mind racing to make sense of the truth as it sits before you. I'd like to tell you that you don't have to worry, that I only brought you here so I could tell you my story, but then I wouldn't be telling the truth. Not entirely, anyway. You see, I know who you are. I know who your parents are. I knew who your grandfather was. I know you don't, and I can't really blame your family for that, but maybe it would have been for the best if they'd told you, because maybe, just maybe, you'd have put two and two together and you wouldn't have come. Remember, I said I believed in karma. Well, it's time for you to pay. Thank you, and I will hopefully see you next week for the next instalment of Makanori. Enjoy!